You know what most people get wrong about freedom? They think freedom means doing whatever you want, whenever you feel like it. They think freedom means no rules, no restrictions, no boundaries. But that's not freedom. That's chaos. That's drifting. That's the fastest way to lose control of your life. Real freedom, the kind that leads to success, the kind that lets you build the life you dream of, comes from discipline. Discipline is not the enemy of freedom. Discipline is the foundation of freedom. Let me make it plain. Think about money. If you spend it however you feel in the moment, buying everything that catches your eye, you'll never be financially free. You'll be in debt, stressed out, and living paycheck to paycheck. But if you discipline yourself, if you budget, if you invest, if you save, you may have to say no to some impulses now, but later you get to say to the life you really want. That's freedom, but it only comes through discipline. Or take your body. Everybody wants to eat what they want, stay up all night, skip the gym. That feels like freedom, right? But what happens? You get tired, you gain weight, your health starts slipping. Suddenly you're not free. You're a prisoner to fatigue, to medication, to your own body breaking down. Now think about the opposite. You discipline yourself, eat right, get rest, exercise. It's not always fun, but the payoff is enormous. You have energy. You feel confident. You can walk up a flight of stairs without losing your breath. That's real freedom. See, the truth is, without discipline, freedom is an illusion. If you do whatever you want in the moment, you're not free. You're enslaved to your feelings, to your impulses, to your weaknesses, and your feelings. They change every 5 minutes. If your whole life is built on how I feel right now, then your whole life will stay unstable. But discipline anchors you. Discipline is the decision to choose what you want most over what you want now. Let me give you another picture. Imagine a river with no banks. Water just spills everywhere. It looks wild and free, but it has no power. Now put that same river between two strong banks, and suddenly it becomes a force that can turn turbines, generate electricity, and give life to entire cities. That's the power of discipline. It takes your raw energy and your raw potential, and it channels them into something useful. Most people want success, but don't want discipline. They want the reward without the responsibility. They want the harvest without the planting. And that's why so many dreams die. Success is never built on comfort. It's built on consistent, disciplined choices. Think about the people you admire, athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders. You see the highlight reels, the victories, the applause. But behind all that is discipline. Waking up early, staying focused when distractions come, practicing when nobody's watching, saying no, to temptations that look good but lead nowhere. That's what separates the people who achieve something in life from the people who just wish. And let me be real with you. Discipline doesn't always feel good. It doesn't always feel rewarding in the moment. But it pays you later. You may not feel like getting up early, but when you do, you get ahead of everybody who's still sleeping. You may not feel like studying, but when you do, you get opportunities others can only dream of. You may not feel like working out, but when you do, you build a body and a mindset can carry you farther. The people who win in life aren't the ones with the best feelings. They're the ones with the best habits. Motivation will spark you for a moment. Discipline will carry you for a lifetime. And I'll tell you something else. Discipline is not punishment. Stop looking at it like that. Discipline is training. Discipline is shaping you into who you were meant to be. When a coach pushes an athlete, it's not to hurt them, it's to prepare them for the championship. When life pushes you to discipline yourself, it's not to hold you back, it's to set you free. Let that sink in for a second. Every time you discipline yourself, you're building freedom. You're stacking bricks toward a life where you're in control. Not your feelings, not your impulses, not your fears. So the next time you're tempted to think discipline is too hard, remind yourself, the only thing harder than discipline is living without it. Discipline is not the enemy. Discipline is your ticket to freedom. The moment you accept that truth, your life starts to change. Life is going to make you pay one way or another. That's not negative thinking. That's just reality. Nobody gets through this life without some form of pain. The question isn't whether you'll experience pain. The question is which there you're willing to choose. There are only two options: the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The pain of discipline is hard, but it's short term. It's the sting of getting up early when your body wants to sleep in. It's the discomfort of saying no to junk food when your cravings scream yes. It's the grind of putting money aside instead of spending it on something shiny today. That pain is sharp, but it passes. And on the other side, it leaves you stronger, wiser, freer. Now compare that to the pain of regret. That's not sharp. That's dull, heavy, and it lingers. It sits on your chest. It's when you're 40 years old, looking back at opportunities you wasted. It whispers in your ear when you realize you could have been more, but you settled for less. Regret doesn't go away. It grows. It becomes a voice that follows you through your whole life, asking, what if you had tried harder? What if you had been disciplined? What if you had given your best? You see, discipline hurts now. Regret hurts forever. Let me break this down psychologically. Human beings are wired to seek comfort and avoid pain. That's survival instinct. But the problem is, that same instinct that keeps you comfortable in the short term keeps you stuck in the long term. Every time you avoid discipline, you feel relief for a moment. But that relief is temporary. You trade a little comfort now for a whole lot of suffering later. Discipline is the opposite. It asks you to embrace temporary discomfort in exchange for lasting reward. This is why so many people never reach their potential. They keep choosing comfort, not realizing that comfort comes with a price tag, and that price tag is regret. Philosophically, this is about ownership of your life. You can't control everything. Life will always throw curveballs, but you can control which pain you lean into. You can decide, I'd rather sweat now than bleed later. And that decision defines your character. It defines your future. Let me give you some real-life examples. The student who disciplines herself to study instead of scrolling on her phone. She feels the pain of focus, the pain of sacrifice. But years later, she gets to live with the freedom of a career she loves. The person who refuses discipline, who chooses Netflix every night, feels great in the moment. But years later, they're stuck, frustrated, watching the disciplined ones live the life they wanted. Same pain, different payoff. Or think about health. A man disciplines himself to hit the gym, to eat clean. At first, it's painful. Muscles sore, cravings denied. But when he's older, he's active, strong, still moving with energy. Meanwhile, the man who avoided that discipline, he's feeling the long-term pain of regret, doctor visits, medication, limitations on his life. Both men felt pain. Only one pain paid off. It's the same with relationships, with dreams. Discipline creates compound interest. Every little act of discipline builds on itself until one day you look back and realize you've built a life worth living. But regret compounds too. Every time you avoid discipline, every time you say, I'll do it tomorrow, you add another weight on your back. And one day, you look back and realize, never came. Here's the part people don't want to admit. Life is fair in this sense. Everyone pays. You can't avoid the cost. You either pay with sweat, with effort, with self-control, or you pay with regret, with disappointment, with lost years you can't get back. And let's be real, regret is expensive. It robs you not just of opportunities, but of peace of mind. You can lie to other people. You can make excuses, but you can't lie to yourself. You know? You deep down, when you didn't give it your all. That's why regret is such a heavy burden. It comes from within. So, the smartest move you can make is to flip the script. Don't see discipline as punishment. See it as an investment. Every time you feel the sting of discipline, remind yourself, paying now so I can be free later. That changes everything. Suddenly, that early alarm clock isn't torture. It's a ticket to freedom. That budget isn't restriction. It's preparation for abundance. That workout isn't suffering. It's the price of longevity. It comes down to this: you either suffer for a little while, or you suffer for a lifetime. So when you're faced with a choice, comfort now or growth later, ask yourself one simple question: which pain do I want to live with? Because one of them will make you. The other will break you. Choose the pain that pays you. Everybody wants to talk about the big moments, the breakthroughs, the achievements, the times you finally hit the jackpot. But here's the truth: nobody wants to hear your destiny isn't built in the spotlight. It's built in the shadows of your daily routine. The small things you do every single day are shaping you, whether you realize it or not. That's where discipline lives, not in the once lifetime decisions, but in the everyday choices that look too small to matter. You brush off reading a book for 10 minutes. You skip the workout because you're tired. You spend instead of save because it's just a little purchase. You think it's no big deal. But here's the psychological truth: nothing is neutral. Every decision either builds you or breaks you. Every small act is casting a vote for the kind of person you're becoming. Philosophers have been saying this for centuries. Aristotle put it best: we're what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Think about that. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your habits. And habits are nothing more than repeated discipline. You see, success doesn't come from one giant leap. It comes from stacking small steps day after day. A single workout won't transform your body, but a workout 3 times a week for a year will. One book won't change your mind, but a habit of reading consistently will rewire how you think. Saving $10 isn't going to make you rich, but saving consistently, investing wisely, will change your entire financial future. Small, disciplined actions compound over time, just like interest in a bank account. Here's what most people get wrong. They overestimate what they can do in a week and underestimate what they can do in 5 years. They want instant transformation. They want to skip the small steps and go straight to the reward. But life doesn't work like that. Life rewards discipline, not shortcuts. Think of it like planting a seed. You don't throw it in the soil today and expect a tree tomorrow. You water it, you care for it, you give it light. Day by day, you see nothing. But beneath the soil, something's happening. Roots are forming. Strength is building. And one day, seemingly out of nowhere, growth breaks the surface. That's what discipline looks like. Quiet, consistent, unseen at first, until one day it produces fruit. This is why small habits matter more than motivation. Motivation it's emotional, it's exciting, but sparks fade. Discipline is the steady flame that keeps burning when the excitement is gone. The person who disciplines themselves to do the small things every day, even when they don't feel like it, is the person who ends up with the big results. Let me get practical. If you want to be a writer, discipline yourself to write 1 page a day. That's 365 pages in a year, a whole book. If you want to get fit, discipline yourself to move your body for 30 minutes a day. That's 182 hours in a year. If you want to master your finances, discipline yourself to save just 10% of every paycheck. That's thousands saved in a few years. Small steps, done daily, become unstoppable momentum. And here's the deeper psychological power of habits. They change your identity. Every time you keep a small promise to yourself, you reinforce the belief that you are disciplined, that you are consistent, that you are the kind of person who does what they say. That identity becomes your foundation, and once your identity shifts, your future shifts with it. But it works the other way too. Every time you skip, every time you give in to excuses, you reinforce the opposite identity, that you can't be trusted, that you quit when it's inconvenient. That's why the little things matter so much. They're not just actions, they're evidence of who you are becoming. Now let's be honest, it's boring sometimes. Discipline isn't always exciting. Habits don't always feel inspiring, but that's the beauty of it. If you can show up on the days when it feels ordinary, you'll be ready for the days when opportunity arrives. Because opportunity doesn't wait for you to get ready. It rewards those who have already been preparing. So the question is simple. What are your daily disciplines? Not the big dreams, not the big plans. What are you doing today, tomorrow, the next day? Because that's where your future lives. When you discipline yourself in the small things, the big things take care of themselves. You don't stumble into success. You build it brick by brick, habit by habit, day by day. Don't chase motivation. Build discipline. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Create momentum through small, consistent actions. Because one day, those little things will add up to something so big, you'll look back and realize that the ordinary was actually extraordinary. And that's the truth about destiny. It's hidden your daily routine. So start small, start today. Start now. Because small daily habits don't just change your schedule. They change your life.